let me hold your hand. Sister, darling, let me hold you close. Don't be afraid, I will sail the waves of you. Sister, darling, sister, darling, sister, darling.
Hi, how are you doing? My name is Felicity Moody's and I would like to welcome you to this month's episode of the Sister Darling podcast. Now I know that you have missed us and we have missed you too. Last month we couldn't be able to air any episode because we had a lot of things going on. We had an event we were putting together at Sister Darling called Chai in Chat. I hope that you followed and you saw how incredible it was. We brought together incredible 15 women from different walks of life doing incredible things in the spaces of leadership and governance, business and entrepreneurship, and of course, advocacy in general. So today we are having an amazing woman joining us on this episode, and before she introduces herself, I'd just like you guys to know that we met sometime last year, yeah? No, but wait, before I tell that story, maybe they should get to know who you are first and then I can go into it, yeah?
Yes, I love the energy this girl brings. The energy. Even if you wanted to come with some low energy or low vibes, by default, you just flow. Now, my name is Christine Namaindi. Majina ya M-Pesa. Ni majina ya M-Pesa. But call me Tina Nams. And self-proclaimed Samia Queen.
Yes, please.
Queen with a purpose,
yes.
Not just a queen. Tina is so many things. I am blessed in various fields or aspects, but first of all, I'm a mom to two, do they still call them bouncing baby boys? Because they're not baby boys. I'm a mother to two boys. I am, by virtue of passion, I love the space of menstrual health and hygiene management in aspect of knowledge empowerment to the young girls, the women, and even the boys, because the whole aspect of menstrual cycle affects mostly the girls, but in a household, we have the men too, who are like the heads of the household. So either way, somehow the men also come in the play. But as I said, I'm a jack of all legal trades.
Yes. I like that you specify and say
yes,
legal trades.
Legal trades. I have to be specific. Legal trades. I'm a policy leader. I'm a policy leader by training. I trained under two organizations. If I may mention, Siasa Place was my mother, trainer. Led by Nerima Wako, hats off to that beautiful young girl. And also under Imara Fellowship, which I graduated as a cohort 2 on the aspect of, somebody will ask, what were you doing there? We did various key aspects of training. There was budget process making, we did social accountability, we did understanding the county government structure, the leadership aspect, the executive, the legislative side of it all, just understanding how things are run within the community in the aspect of governance. I also love nurturing talents for the youths or the young girls. I've worked before with the models, and I was in the space of the models. So when I said I'm jack of all legal trades, then you understand. Plus, I have a background of being a radio presenter.
Yes,
yes.
You do.
Maybe the voice tells.
Yes, the voice
Nothing to
does.
brag about.
It
just
is
talking
about. To brag about.
I'm just talking about God's blessings.
Please, let's brag about it.
Yes, we need to brag about
we
God.
Have to,
yes,
yeah.
so that you don't say, oh, it is by my making. There's nothing like you're making.
Yeah.
It is God at the center of all these blessings we are talking about. So basically that is Tina, but at the moment I work at the county government of Busia, and to be specific, I'm I'm a menstrual health, hygiene and management champion in the office of His Excellency, Dr. Paul Nyongesa Otuoma, and also working in the Directorate of Gender. Yes, that is what I do at the county government of Busia. Yes, so my work is to empower the community in the aspect of menstrual hygiene, and just to make sure that in terms of policy and bringing people to understand what gender roles and all that is all about. Yes.
That is really incredible, my lord. You sure do wear a lot of hats.
By grace of God. Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
So, like I was telling you guys, Tina and I met a year ago.
Yes.
So I was performing at this event where she was emceeing.
Yes.
She is an incredible MC. And so she was emceeing, and the year before, during the 16 days of activism, we had been doing a campaign in partnership with Freedom in Healing, Pen Warriors Kenya, and Rocha Gallery KE. And she was one of the people we had celebrated, and I absolutely did not know her. So like, I was seeing her emceeing, and I'm like, but this face looks familiar. So then it's in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, it's the lady from the, 16 days of activism. And I genuinely gushed. I was like, oh my God, I totally love your work. I totally love you. And I think that was, did I scare you with all that excitement?
No, not really. Actually, I was like, so I have an impact. God is using people to let me know what I'm doing, to give me more reason to continue doing what I do. So I was literally humbled. So when we did that selfie, I rushed to my social media space, and I was like, I have to tell people. I have to tell people that whatever we do in our community, when you see somebody excited, it means you're giving a positive impact. So when somebody celebrates you, especially when they meet you, when it's not all planned, and you see the excitement in their face, it gives you more reason to do what you do best. Yes.
And you are doing such an incredible
Thank
job.
you.
Also,
Thank you.
also just to let them know, she was also one of the women we were celebrating last year during Sister Darling movement. So just the work
what
she
a
does
moment.
in the community.
Oh,
it
what
was
a moment.
beautiful.
Yes.
It was beautiful.
Yes.
And you always come fully, nicely dressed. She looked nice, and today as well.
Yeah, thank you.
So I know that just to like to know, now that you are so huge in terms of menstrual health programming, what inspired that?
My inspiration, let me not lie. I don't want to give the cliche story of, oh, I come from a poor background, oh, so I struggled. No, I'll be lying. I'll be lying. I always say it's like a divine purpose. Divine purpose that God has seen through you and knows that if I give you this task, you will handle it the way I want. And you'll bring it out so well, like passionately and intentionally. I literally started in 2017 with a group of models. I used to call them Busia Kenya Supermodels. Yes, and maybe somebody's asking why Busia Kenya Supermodels. It's because I come from the border county called Busia. Yes. This is a group that I literally met when I was doing Miss Tourism Kenya. Busia County chapter in 2018, which I was part of the coordinators, organizers, and also a judge at the sub-county level. So I thought to myself, that's why I say I'm kind of crafted divinely to bring a meaning to my purpose, in the sense that I thought to myself, these girls, apart from just the beauty, what else, when they speak about themselves, what else can capture the attention of the community to say, apart from beauty, there's something extra they're also doing. What niche can we create out of the beauty space, the pageantry space? So I said, I want to run with a hashtag called Beauty with Purpose, Beauty with Brains.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So when I started the community work, I used to call it mentorship stroke padding girls. So basically not just going to schools and giving Santa towels, no. Like let them understand during that moment of menstrual cycle, what happens. We have so many things that happen. We have the issue of maybe somebody feeling sick, like the pains, the cramps, so how do they handle it? Because I'm not a medic, I will tell them that make sure you see a profession when it's too much pain. Like how do we handle the products that we have used? How do we dispose them? So we are talking about safe disposal of the used menstrual products. So again, we are talking about we have culture and traditions that are associated with menstrual hygiene or menstrual cycle of the girl child. So what is the real truth behind the cultures? So the most culture that I've come across is when people say, we were raised knowing that when you're menstruating, you're not supposed to go to church. You are not clean. So the basic reason is very simple, that during those years when our grandmothers and mothers, when they were going through the whole thing, they didn't have hygienic menstrual products to use. So definitely they could not sustain us sitting in a church for that long. So by default, they looked at it as a dirty being. No, they were not dirty. They just lacked the hygienic menstrual products to use. So basically, that is the whole culture that comes with wewe ni mchafu, ufai kwenda kwa madhabahu, you know. So we are trying to break those culture that are associated with menstrual cycle, to break also the stigma, because it brings along the period stigma into it. So you feel like, oh, because people think we are dirty, so the stigma, you want to stay at home, you don't want people to see you, you know. So we're also trying to break the stigma, and breaking the stigma is by normalizing this conversation of menstrual hygiene. When you normalize the conversation, even the households embrace it well, so that when a father doesn't want to hear the conversation because it was a taboo growing up as a man, talking about issues affecting women, you know, like what has it to do with me as a man? But we have single fathers, you know, we have people who have been raised by their uncles. So what are we telling this first-time menstruator when they start going through the process? Who should they run to? If the father doesn't want to hear the conversation, that it's a taboo in the household to talk about the menstrual hygiene. So that's the reason why we are in the community, to advocate on people understanding what is the knowledge behind menstrual health and hygiene management. How do we manage our menses during this period? So that is what I advocate for, letting people understand, apart from understanding the products that are legalized to be used. You know, there are those products that are allowed to use. We tell them to understand different products in the market. We have the disposable sanitary towels, and we have the reusable sanitary towels. So let them understand the different cluster of those sanitary towels. So that this, how do you use? With this, how do you use? So in the process, how do you maintain cleanness? Like with this product, you need an area where there's a lot of water. And if there's no water, how do you go about it? You know, once you're done using it, how do you dispose it? You get it? And again, you're also looking at it as, it's a pride of every woman to know that I am menstruating. You can imagine a situation where you have reached an age of 18, 20, 30, and you've never gone through menstruation cycle. You know, it's tormenting. It's not normal. So you don't feel a woman enough. So we are telling women, you menstruating is something that you should be proud about. That's why we talk of hashtag, my period, my dignity, you know, my period, my pride, you know. So we want women to have this as a normal conversation in the households. So that when a father and a mother is seated, when the girl is going to Form 1 and they start menstruating, it's not a shy subject. It's a natural biological process for every girl. It's not an embarrassing process. It's a natural biological process for every girl to embrace it. So here we are, and people are exposed. We are going as per the trends. You know, it's a digital space. So how will the people, the girls and even the girls in the university or something, how will they learn that it's no longer a taboo topic? It's us to advocate about it, because we're in the space where we have the resources, we have the goodwill, the political goodwill to get a safe space to talk about it. And when we are talking about, when we're addressing these issues, we're also creating safe space for these young girls who are coming up, so that they don't find a toxic environment when they are addressing menstrual issues. Yes.
This is so beautiful, and I love that you're talking about it holistically. It's not just about, let us give access to sanitary towels, because we also have like other girls who are not able to afford that. But it's from a place of period with dignity as well, male allyship in it. And I'm just honestly curious on, what did you think was how important was it to just include men in this?
It's very important in this sense. That's why I said in every household, we have different sexes. Let me not say gender, because gender, we are talking about roles. So we have a man and a woman. So I'm talking in a space where even if you go to institutions like schools, even in campus, we have institutions where we have combined genders or the combined sexes, in the sense that if this person starts menstruating and they're in primary school, and the boys in that school have no idea of what to do when the girl starts menstruating, there is that aspect of start to laugh at them when they're starting to menstruate. And this young girl, the mental state is not strong enough to handle the laugh or to handle the ridicule, you know. Like at our age we can handle because we have handled before, you know. But now for them, they're young girls. The girl is 12 because basically the menstruating period is basically average between 12 years and 49, 45, basically. So you can imagine a young girl who is 12 years starting to menstruate and the boy starts laughing in class. You know, even then they don't know what is happening to their body. You know, that's why when I'm doing these conversations in schools, I make them understand. Let me give you an example. When the other day I did a video and people were laughing at the video when I said, as a woman, how many holes do you have? People are laughing. The reason why I talk about it is when I talk about a tampoo, somebody will ask you, when I'm using a tampoo, do I remove it when I'm going to urinate? And I'm telling them that's the whole reason why I'm saying we have 3 holes. We have the vagina, where we now use the whole blood comes from, the vagina. We have the urethra, where the urine comes from, and then we have the anus. You get? So when I'm talking about a tampon, now you understand. When you're using a tampon is the vagina. But now the urine comes from the urethra. So there are 2 different holes. So it doesn't affect. So you should not be worried and say, when I'm using a tampon, how will I again remove it when I'm doing, you know? Yeah, so sometimes we need them to understand that aspect so that you don't get scared and say, I would have used a tampon, but it's a lot of work. I'll have to remove it when I'm going to short call, you know. So when they have that knowledge, then now they're comfortable, you know. We make them understand how to use a tampon, how to use a menstrual cycle. Now we know I'm talking about the menstrual products. We have the usual, they call it always, you know. We have the menstrual cup, we have the tampon, we have the reusable sanitary towels, which are mostly made by the piece of clothes. But now we have the materials that are recommended by the kids to be used when you're making them. Don't just pick any rag and make a pad, because you know we are dealing with a sensitive area in a woman. So we have to be very critical in what materials we use when the girls are using the product. So it's a holistic approach of why men have to be part of this conversation. You need to understand that it's not something to be embarrassed about. So if you're going to shop for your girl when they're going to school, kindly pick a sanitary towel, kindly pick a tampon, put in that basket, go pay, and let the girl just smile as they go to school, because they know, finally, my dad is okay with buying this thing, so it's nothing to be embarrassed about. Because why should it be embarrassed when a girl is excited every time that period comes? There's a girl who is stressed because there was no period. So it dignifies a woman to know that you are going through this, through the cycle like any other woman. Because if you don't, that's when you hear alirogwa. You get? So if we are going through the menstrual cycle, then it means we are very normal. We have the dignity as a woman. It's a pride of every woman to undergo through the process. Yes.
That is so beautiful. Najwa, as you were talking, nikakumbuka, way back when there used to be this mentorships, especially on menstrual health. Alafu walikuwa nakujanga shule, and then tunapatiwa sanitary towels as girls, and then when the boys would ask what is that, wangeambiwa ni mkate, unajua, mfiche wasione. So this is honestly such a whole new angle to it, such a whole new face to it, because hata wavulana wasikiwe kwa hiyo room, hata wavulana wasiwahi jua periods. And these are also people when in your head you're thinking, kani mtu mkubwa na yeye amekuja kutuambia na I feel like boys should know, then why should I even tell a boy about it?
I remember there's a video that went viral. A young boy, I think he was looked like 12, 11 years, and I was really tagged in that video because the boy was saying, tumeambiwa shule, sisi tumenyimwa, wasichana peke yake ndio wamepatiwa mkate na sisi mamia tujapatiwa mkate. So people were tagging me, asking me, how do you go through it, as in how do you go about it with the video. So I was like, the reason why we are saying we want to break the silence on issues of menstrual hygiene is because we are removing the aspect of a taboo topic. We need to be open. We need to normalize this conversation so that we stop hiding with the names of mkate. Why should you call it mkate? Actually, why are you hiding it? It's something that somebody else wishes they were going through the cycle, the menstrual cycle, but they're not, then they're feeling bad. It's not, we are making it look like it's an embarrassing subject.
Yeah.
So we need to look for names to camouflage into the real name. You know, like we need to look for a synonym of the real menstrual product. Like if it's a tampon, unasema nipatie lipstick. You know, like ile box na kwa na lipsticks. No, it's not lipstick, it's a tampon. Nipatie kikombe, si kikombe, it's a menstrual cup. Usinipatie mkate, nataka pad. You know, like buy whatever sanitary towel you want. Somebody was even joking the other time when we were doing training and saying, if you're buying a pad, why do you insist nifungie kwa gazeti? Why are you hiding it? It's a pride of every woman. Why are you hiding it? The moment you continue hiding it is the reason why even boys will be like, kama wasichana wenyewe wataki kuwa associated with what they say it's a blessing from God, then it should also be none of our business if they're hiding it. So why should we embrace it?
Yeah.
So that's why we are saying we are breaking the silence.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you know, that's the thing of there's so much shame attached to so many normal things that we've grown up with the shame, so we just internalize it and we embrace it and we just keep hiding, because even people like at our ages, you know, someone would still be like, I can't openly say that, I can't openly remove my sanitary towel from my bag to go change in the washroom, you know. So it's like a whole thing. And it just makes me curious, because you see like a lot of young girls could be going through their periods and they're not telling anybody. So tapata mtu ametumia nguo, juu ataanza this conversation aje na parents, because parents, most of the parents at least, are always waiting watenda shule, kutakuwa na mentorship programs watambiwa, or the teacher will teach it in bio class or something. So then how can parents just normalize this to get to the space of, I have children, these are conversations I need to have with them before they get to this age where they start menstruating and they're like, oh my God, what's happening to me? Something wrong with me? Why am I all of a sudden having blood? And you don't get like what's happening.
Let me give you a scenario.
Yes.
There's a time I went to a village community and I was supposed to address the issues of menstrual hygiene. And the leader in place told me, Tina, hii community, hey, wanakwanga sensitive. The culture does not allow you. You know, you always hold a panty when you're explaining. So it's kind of embarrassing to the wazes when they're seated. And the community, when it's doing like a community initiative, the women are seated aside. They're not supposed to mix. The women are sat aside, and then the men are also like excluded from the women. So I told the MCA. I know I do this thing because it's divine. So allow me to engage these wazes and the mamas. So I went to them. You know, you need to understand that these wazes are in totally different era in which we are in. So how we understand things and how they were brought up is totally different. If you have that in mind, you'll use wisdom when you're engaging them. So I went and talked to the mamas and I was like, the reason why I want to have this conversation with our young girls, because it was a primary school. There are different primary schools who were brought under one ground. So I was like, I need to have conversation with these girls so that they understand when they finally need these products or when they're using it, they need to get it from the people who are taking care of them, the guardian who are their parents, not outside force or not outside person. Because that's where now we start talking about early marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Yes.
You know, because you as a parent, you have said, I'm not having this conversation, it's taboo. So the child is scared because you have already brought that fear in the household. So I'm like, kindly allow me to talk to them so that they don't get them outside. So that we don't bring unwanted pregnancy at home because they could not ask for that pad. And the boy has a thought, let me impregnate her for 9 months and save buying sanitary towels for 9 months. But at the end of the day, the pampers are too expensive, you know, if you want to compare. So the whole subject is having the wisdom to understand who you are addressing. So if you're talking to the men or the women who are of the old age, go to their level, understand. Use even the tone you are using. You know, like, I need to make them first understand why I'm bringing this topic to their eyesight. If I'm talking to the university students, there's a way I'll have the conversation with them. So it's a matter of understanding who am I addressing? Who is my target audience at that time? So, and by the way, after I had talked to the mamas, I went and talked to the wazee. They told me, msichana, fanya hiyo vitu yako, unatusaidia. So I ended up having a good conversation with these guys. Even the MCA himself was like, I've worked with Tina with this in this aspect of menstrual hygiene. You know, he even became proud of the whole conversation and whole advocacy. So it's a matter of using wisdom to understand who is the target audience you are addressing, and how do you bring out whatever conversation you want to have with them, having in the mind that their era and our era is different. So use a language that will make sense to them in a polite way. Yes, especially if you're dealing with the old age. Yes.
So now, in this scenario, I have a child,
Yes.
and I need to talk to them about menstruation. So
Yes.
how do I bring out that conversation as a parent?
As a parent, I'm thinking you need to first make the girl understand that there's this stage of adolescence.
Yes.
What happens during that time? What changes in the body? So that when they come out, the girl is not shocked. The girl is not stigmatized with the whole aspect of things happening in her body, and she has no idea what is happening. So you start from there. So that by the time you're getting to the issues of, as a girl, when you get to this age, or at some point, you will start experiencing blood coming from your private part. You know, it should not surprise you. It's part of growing up. Let the girl understand it's part of growing up. And it's very normal for any girl to undergo that stage. So that now it's the point of, you're giving the girl a safe space to also trust you as a parent. That as my parent has talked to me about this, then it's okay. So that when the moment starts, so she'll not be, in fact she'll come smiling. Mami, unakumbuka ile story tuliongea? Imagine imeanza jana, you know. So you have already create safe space for your own children to understand that it's a normal biological process for any girl at certain age to start all this. After explaining to them, in adolescent stage, this is what happens to your body. So this menstruating is part of what is the changes that happen to you as you grow. So it is nothing to shock you. It is nothing to mentally drain you. It is very normal. So the girl will smile knowing that a parent is talking from an experience point of view, because the parent has gone through it and she was okay with it. So by the time my mom is telling me that it is okay, so the mom is making a safe space for the girl to open up. That when it starts, especially as a first-time menstruator, then it will be a very cool conversation between a mom and a daughter. Yes.
I love that. Because tu venye kwa tunasema tukianza, like a lot of parents don't think like these are conversations they should hold with their kids, and even for those who think that these are important conversations they should hold, kuna kwa tu ile kauoga because of the shame that's attached to it. You wonder. So
but again, let me tell you something. Sometimes we have parents who they're so stuck in, I can't do this conversation.
Yes.
So this is my advice.
Yes.
There's that auntie. There's that auntie that your girl is so comfortable around. There's maybe the big sister that your daughter is very comfortable around. You know, there's that relative. So if for you to, because you cannot do it yourself, you feel like, nah, I just can't. I was not raised like this. You know, you come from the analog era of being brought up. So just have conversation with the big sister whom you think your girl will be comfortable around, and tell the big sister, we enda uongee na nani, you know, hii kitu ikikuje simshtue, or kindly go and have that conversation because she's comfortable around you. Sometimes you could just be even comfortable with an uncle, you know. We have girls who are comfortable with the male aspect of it, you know, not necessarily have to be the same gender or the same sex. So find somebody who is comfortable with your girl, the way you know your girl very well. Let that person start the conversation of the things that happen in your body as a girl child during the adolescent stage. What happens? So that you know by the time you're bringing the point of menstruation, the girl is in the picture. The girl is comfortable. The girl is listening more to understand that when it finally happens, I was already briefed about what happens within my body at this certain age. So if not the mom, find somebody who is comfortable with your daughter to talk about the whole, even if it's a teacher. Sometimes maybe the girl comes at home and she's very excited. Oh, teacher nani, teacher nani. So you can use that teacher to bring the girl to the point of understanding that this is normal. There's nothing to stress you about when this happens. Yes.
Now that we are talking about this, I'd also just like to know, period poverty is one of the things zenye unajaribu kukab with the work that you do. And you're doing incredible work with that. And then we find that in as much as saa zingine umepatana supply for maybe a month or 2 months, at the end of the day mtu bado saa zingine sasa bado hana because of maybe where they come from as a family, and tunapata so many girls are now exposed to having sex in exchange for these things.
Yes.
Sometimes tunataka kuzi bracket tuseme teenage pregnancies,
Yeah.
but sometimes me feeling it to, let's just call it what it is. That's,
Yeah.
for me, sometimes
Call a
it's
spade a
just,
spade.
it's
Not a
just
big
defilement,
spoon.
you
Yes,
know,
yes,
because
yes.
I don't have access to this. There's someone older who has access to this. I'm 12. We've had sex. What do we call that? You know. But because it's also the thing with programming. Sometimes you blanket so many things and like, oh, teenage pregnancies, oh, early marriages, really. But yeah, in as much as that is happening. And then we also, now that you're also very in the middle of leadership and governance with the work that you do, what are some of the things that you think that we can do just in with the leaders to just ensure that tukuna some policy changes, now also policymaker, just some policy changes zenye zinaweza kukua enacted so that we ensure that when you're talking at issues around menstrual health, every single girl has access, not because parents wangu wanaweza afford, ama sijui sasa naweza enda shule because my parents can, but I have access to these things because the government has also put in place things that protect me as a young girl. Yeah.
I will start with the first question when you asked about period poverty.
Yes.
When you talk about period poverty, we are talking about these girls, especially in Mashinani, who cannot access the products.
Yes.
Even for us who advocate or champion, we could give you a sanitary towel 2 or 1, you know. So basically, I've only helped you in a month or 2.
Yes.
So I usually say the whole aspect, that's why it does not revolve around giving sanitary towels. That is not the whole basic. That's why we talk about, also engage more on the knowledge, empowerment surrounding the whole issue of how do we manage our moment of menstrual cycle. And this is how I will say it. The few schools or spaces I've been to when I talk about menstrual hygiene, when I talk about period poverty is, first of all, I usually ask, what do you use? And most importantly, most of my initiatives I've done in the village setup, most of them, and they will tell you blanket, handkerchief. There's a one who told me the cow dung, that when it's well dried, it absorbs blood. And I'm like, ew, that is literally not hygienic, you know. But that is what they use, you know. Another one will tell you this rag, we cut a piece of rag, your mom will tell you, kuna hiyo shuka huwa tutumi, kata hiyo weka, you know. So at the end of the day, you ask yourself, how do we end period poverty if this is what they use?
Yeah.
So this is usually how my reasoning about it. I will not give you sanitary towels every month. And you see, that is the whole basic of why we need to have policies in place.
Yes.
Because any serious donor or somebody who wants to be part of solving a problem like issues surrounding menstrual hygiene, they will need foundation or basis of how they come in. When I'm doing accountability of why I came into Busia, there must be have policies that guided me. You know, that is the whole essence of why we need policies. These are rules that govern when we are doing a specific area of specification in terms of what you are advocating for. You must have rules, and the rules are the policies we are talking about. So when you're talking about period poverty, what I usually say is this. Because I'm only giving sanitary towel for this month or maybe for 2 months, the 3rd month, what are you going to use? You have told me you're using blanket. So let's talk about the reality of life. With that blanket, how clean is it? Because we want to be realistic with the conversation. Let me not lie to you that, oh, you use blanket, okay, I'll bring you again another one. If I have to, like, let me give an example of Busia County. It's huge. It's large because we have 7 sub-counties, actually. So you can imagine, I cannot reach to every girl in Busia, but I can help you to understand how to take care of yourself with the resources that is at your disposal. So what is at your disposal is the blanket. What is at your disposal? The bed sheet that you cut every month to put there, down there. So my work is to tell you how clean. Do you have access to water? You know, those are the basics you need to know. Do you have a basic bar soap that you can use to clean it? So I'm like, if you're using a blanket, this is how you clean it. You make sure you dry it in the air, not inside the house, so that it's the sun rays, they kind of kill some germs that are associated with the blood, you know. So I want to be real with the conversation with you in the village. So blanket, clean it like this, make sure you dry it this way, make sure you store it this way. When it's rugged and all dusted, this is how you throw it away, you know, until another good Samaritan comes on board and say, okay, fine, I'm giving you another sanitary towel. So the reason why I'm giving you knowledge on how to use various products is because when you get a chance to receive them, now you know how to use them. So that you don't miss school, because I only had a blanket at that time when we were doing exams, But now I'm telling you, if you are a heavy flow girl, because we as women, we have different flows. Kuna yule yake ni mingi, there are those who it's average and those that is just a drop. So if it's heavy flow, if you're using blanket, how many pieces of blankets do you need to use, as long as they're clean? Because I'm now being realistic with the conversation, you know. So that's why we talk about managing menstrual health and hygiene management. So that's where the word management comes in. How do we manage our menses during that time? So if you're having real conversations, if these guys, this is what they use, after what you've given them is done, so when they remain with what they use every day, so how do you advise them to use them? So talk about cleanness. Talk to them what they're supposed to eat. Talk to them of what not to do. Self-disposal with what they have at home. So if they were using handkerchief, tell them handkerchief is too tiny, especially if you're doing a heavy flow person. Blanket is much better. Some of them will tell you we use a mattress. So how clean is the mattress? You know, those are the real conversations we have on the community when you're talking to them. So it's not just an aspect of giving the product. No. When you're just giving a product and going away, you've not had this child. So when the situation where your product you've given them is done, in terms of managing the cycle, in terms of cleanness, what they eat, the self-disposal aspect, they have no idea. So they go back to, again, an hygienic way of taking care of themselves during that moment. So we are talking of real conversations. That's why, so killing period poverty. For first of all, in aspect of leadership and governance, let's make sure we have policies managing this conversation that we are holding today. Let's have policies that will govern issues of menstrual hygiene, so that if we are looking at people who to bring on board, let them find policies in place. It will be easy even for the government institution to ensure that now it's easy to say, let me call this organization, let's have a round table and say we have our policy in place. So Busia County, we have 7 sub-counties and we have 35 wards. So this is how we are going to run. How do we map out like the vulnerable areas that they really need these products? So that's how we go about it, making sure we map out places that really need the products. So if we have the policy in place, then it's easy for us to mobilize resources. Yes.
Amazing, and I absolutely agree with you. Najua tumeshaanza kuongelea leadership and governance. Sasa turudi huku kwingine on the work that you do at the county.
Yes.
Hey, Ebu, tell us a little bit about it. How's it?
If we talk about leadership and governance, as I said, I have had training under Imara Fellowship, which is also under the umbrella of Siasa Place. Yes. So I always give credit where it's due, where it deserves. I worked as the vice chairperson representing Busia County in aspect of leadership and governance under Siasa Place and Imara. Yes. So basically what we were doing is we were going to different, we created barazas, youth barazas.
Wow.
So our work was to, because we have been trained, so we know what to do. So we'll go to those barazas and empower them with the knowledge to understand how devolution works. When we talk about devolution, what do we understand about devolution? Basically, it's just bringing resources from the national government to the county level, you know. So when you're talking about the arm of government, what do you understand? We have the legislative arm, we have the executive, and we have the judiciary aspect of it. So how well do you understand these 3 structures? How do they work? Who is supposed to implement? Who is supposed to, you know, execute the whole, like the projects within the county level? When things are not going well, what is the sober approach do you use to make sure that the government is put in check? So you say we have the issue of petition. You as youths, you can come together and say, we don't like how maybe the Department of Health or maybe the Department of Water is running their things. So as youths, to come together, that is the sober way of approach. You know, if you come too loud with no proper, you know, like a sober approach to how you want things to be done, even them, they'll think you're jokers. So there's a way we were taught on how to do memorandas, how to do petitions, just to put government in check. So that when you do a petition, it goes through the assembly, and all that process. So by the time it gets to them, if they don't work on it after a certain number of days, so you see, it already puts them in check that you know what you're doing. You see, so that is the whole aspect of what we were being trained on when you're talking about leadership and governance. Just to understand the roles. If you're talking about the executive, who is the boss? We have the governor, we have the deputy governor, we have the CECs, we have the chief officers, we have the directors. You need to understand the structure. When you go to the legislative, what do you know about the legislative arm? We have the speaker, we have the deputy speaker, we have the MCAs, and then from the MCAs we have the various representation in aspect of departments. So if you want to push something in agriculture, you go to the executive arm of the legislative arm of whoever is in charge of that department to push your agenda. You don't just run helter-skelter. Somebody will understand that this one doesn't even know what they're doing. So they'll not even bother. But when they know that you are coming from the point of knowledge, you know, knowledge is power.
Yes.
When they understand that you understand how the structure works, you understand how the whole policies and all things works on, you know, we usually call it understanding the power of the Constitution. Article 1, it gives you power as an electorate or as a voter to say, we don't like this and we are going to do this, and what we are doing is petition. That is now the legal process of making sure that the leaders are put in check. Yes. So basically we're just training on issues of budget process making, understanding how the process goes, because there's a location. You know, you cannot run and say tunataka tujengewe darasa. Has money been budgeted for that darasa you're asking for? So if you have that knowledge in mind, you will say, I have checked the budget. There's the CDP, that is a 5-year program for the county on how they've budgeted. So you realize there's money. So it'll be like, by the time you're pushing for this thing, the money was allocated. Because if you tell them to build something and the money was not allocated, where would they get the money from? So those are basic what we were training the youth to understand about issues of governance and leadership, and the whole aspect of social accountability. Social accountability is putting the departments in check from the grassroots level. Like for us, we kind of brought it down to health and water. So for me, I have a concept of what I did in health and water department. So what we were doing when you talk about social accountability is to identify a project that has stalled. Stalled meaning it started and it was left hanging.
Yes.
So you want to find out why is it not being worked on. So your work, social accountability, is now going through the process, going to that village and saying, "Hey, dispensary kokoi village. So who is the guru here? So tell me about this project." So they'll tell you. So you gather the details about the project, have it documented, and then now you know where to go about it. So that you say, we have realized money has been being budgeted to this project, but it's not moving. So it means, what is the reason behind it? Because most of the time, the leader will say, ule alikuwa ndio alianzisha, nikimalizisha watasema ni ule alijenga. So that's how they evade such projects. So that is one of the reasons why some projects end up being stalled. So those are the things that we were doing trainings with the youths within Busia County.
That's powerful.
Yes, and by the way, Kisumu County was also part of it, because the program when it started, we had Busia, we had Kericho, we had Kisumu, we also had Nairobi. Yes.
That's really powerful, because really understanding that we have the power as a people,
Yes.
inatusaidia sana to just be actively involved in all these processes.
Yes.
Because most times we tend to forget that we are the ultimate power. Tunakanga tu hivi, kitu politician amesema.
Yes, and let me tell you something.
Yeah.
People don't understand. There is power in constructive noise. I said constructive noise. So when you're talking about petition and all that, it puts the leaders to say, watu bwana wataniweka kwa moto, because they know legal way of making things happen, you know. So I always say, if you feel things are not working, and that's why ignorance is very bad. Knowledge is power. When you have the knowledge to know how to go about it, sometimes you could be quiet. You don't need to make a lot of noise. Sometimes you can just say, let me look for 1, 2, 3 individuals who I know have the voice. You know, there are people, when they speak, things will happen. And there are people, even if they shout the whole day, nothing will happen. Because a leader has already checked and realized this one even has no idea why he's making noise.
Yes.
But this one, he knows why he's making noise. And he's come to an angle where he knows where to go when things will not come in play, you know. So it's a matter of just taking charge of Article 1.
I love that because you're inatutoa from the place of just imagining. Unajua tukiongelenga issues around civic participation.
Yes.
So many of us think that it's just end of votes. Ni kupiga tu kura peke yake. We don't remember that we actually should be involved in issues around budget process. We don't know that we can be involved in recalling leaders. You know, like we have the power to do all those things. So I think that it's very powerful that you are letting the young people know that it goes beyond just kupiga kura. It's bigger than that.
And then sometimes it's sad when youths will come and you'll see them making a lot of noise, but the real noise has not been made. You know, you can go loud on social media, but the real button you didn't press, because the real button is what approach did you use apart from making noise on social media? And if you made noise on social media, who do you think can help you add more power to that noise? You know, because maybe from where you sit, you have not worked on yourself enough. You know, sometimes it depends on who you are. Those are the real stories we need to tell each other. You know, like Moody's, you've come to the civic space like a month ago. So bado hauna uzito. You know, but you have all the rights. You have all the constitutional or legal rights to push it. But the reality is, do you have the muscle? And when I'm talking about the muscle, it's not really financial. Is bringing in the right people into this space
to listen,
to make sure that this thing is happening.
If
you're in the space of poetry, look for Moody's, because she commands that space. If you're going to the space of, let's say, leadership, there's a specific person that you're nikileta on board. But again, the question is, how do you approach these people? How professional are you when you're approaching this? What authentic conversation are you having with these people? You know, you can't just say, hakuna, tumekataa hizi vitu, kama wataki wawache, watutengenezee. No, it doesn't work like that. We need to use wisdom when you want these things happening, you know.
It's a thin line, and I think sometimes we don't get into a conversation we always have every single time when it comes to issues around advocacy. That there is a place of social media, you know, advocacy. There's a place of kwenda protests. Kukwa barabara. There's a very huge place that all these things play their role, but this is a place of ensuring you're sitting in policy tables. There's a place of ensuring you know the right people who have the voices in these different departments. Because when you merge all these different things, all these four things, it becomes powerful. Because kuna places sitting at the policy table will not change, but being on social media will change. Ama being kwa barabara will change, but the other places where being in partnership with someone who is a voice in that thing will change. So it's just understanding that advocacy is so multifaceted. And you just have to know, nini tawak kwa hii situation? Ama gani nita combine ziwak kwa hii situation?
Let me give you a very good example when you're talking about social media advocacy. A very good example is this. Let's say you want to advocate on, let's say you have Moody's company that talks about poetry, and people are fighting rights of the poets, you know. I don't know how you call yourselves, the poets? Is it the poets? So you want to fight the rights of the poets, and you have Moody's company that is in that space. It has the muscles, you know. So when I'm posting on social media, kindly use hashtag or make sure you tag Moody's poetry, because definitely they will get the message. So you are tagging the right people in that space, so that when somebody types on social media and says Moody's poetry, that conversation that you are tagging the organization in, it will definitely pop. So you as the CEO of Moody's Poetry, you'll be like, this thing has gone viral and I've really been tagged. I need to get the right people to also help to stop the harassment of the poets, you know. So make sure when you're using the social media, use hashtag. You can decide and say, as poets, we have had enough. So we want to run a hashtag. So create a hashtag, because so that in case anybody types something related to poets, that hashtag will pop. So it will get the attention of the watchdog who have the muscles to ensure that these things are happening. So social media, don't just type. Make sure you tag the right people in that space. Because if you tag me in a space of poetry, I will not help you. Okay, yes, I know Moody, so I'll just say, hey, have you seen, I've been tagged, but definitely I'm not in this space. You know, but make sure you tag the right people within that space to add more power. into whatever you are pushing
Exactly.
to happen.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I feel like you do that a lot with your work. You always have a running hashtag on around
Yeah.
mental health. And that's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, ningependa tu kujua because you cannot walk this journey and especially walk this journey in a female body and not go through challenges and be as powerful as you are and not experience backlash. Experience yako na backlash imekuwa.
Now that you've mentioned that, cyberbullying came to me.
Really?
Yes.
My
Not really as Tina. Okay, yes, I experienced it in 2021. I will never forget.
Oh my good Lord.
But now, that's why I say, if in your position where you are really pushed to the wall, God is trying to work on your resilience. Because in this world, now let me preach. You can never represent God if you are weak. No. God needs strong soldiers to represent him. And that's why I always say, even if you go down on your knees and say, oh, I would like to meet Moody's one day, God will not come in person and hold you hand and say, my child, here is Moody's. God will use people. People like Tina who has met Moody's. Connect you to Tina, and then Tina will connect you to Moody's, who you went down on your knees and said, I would love to one day meet Moody's, you know. So, so what I'm talking about is that when you are talking about issues of social media and as a woman, most of the time, most of the women are broken, especially on social media spaces because of cyberbullying. And I have created this thick skin around me. Me, you cannot bully me. I Tinanams. I have created my own safe space in the sense that even if you want to bully me, you just run on your own because they'll tell you, kama ni Tina woi, akipeji yake na tuandike kitu poa. Ama positively criticize because I can always tell. I can always tell this one meant well. It's only that maybe somebody who doesn't have wisdom will not get it. You'll get mad. But I know when somebody is positively criticizing. I don't refuse positive criticism. But I also know somebody who just doesn't like me, which I don't have a problem. You see, we cannot be everybody's cup of tea.
Of course.
I can be your JD thought. How do they call it?
Yeah.
I don't have to be your tea. I can be your coffee, you know. So I don't expect everybody to like me. But in my own conscience, I am doing something in my mind tells me it is from a pure intention point of doing things, you know. So I know what I'm doing is blessed from whoever gave me these powers to get to where I am today. So the best way I can say is as a woman in this space, because doing community work, oh my goodness, it's not easy. But what I always say is have a thick skin. I don't know how you'll have that thick skin.
I was just about to ask you, please
You
give
will
us 10
have,
tips.
And the best way to create the thick skin is very simple. Who are you? What values do you advocate? What do you know when you're doing something, even deep down you know hapa naye nimechoma, hapa naye nimeongea mbaya. So you accept that even you made a mistake. But when you're standing in a point of I know who Tina is, I know what I'm advocating is something that helps the community. It's objective knowledge that I'm giving to the community. It's something that is authentic conversation I'm having with these people. So when somebody is fighting you back, that is cyberbullying. What I tell people, don't insult people on social media. No, you're encouraging to have more insults. Just have facts with you. Let me give a very good example. There's a time I did when I came to Kisumu, I think 2022. So my first program I was like, I've just gotten a job in Kisumu. If I go to do a program in Busia, my employer will think like I'm a joker. So I decided to do the mentorship program because it was my birthday. Every of my birthday, I usually give back to the community.
Nice.
So I was like, I need to do an activity within Kisumu, you know. So I decided to do an activity in Kisumu. So after I was done, I posted on social media. There was a comment. I know this person will hear this conversation. The person commented, wasichana wanataka unafaa wapelekee chakula, not pads. But because I know who Tina Nams is, I know what I'm advocating for. I know the work I'm doing. I know the impact of giving this girl this sanitary towel. You know, nimeita wasichana wa mashinani. Those who cannot afford sanitary towels every month. Their parents are struggling. And I know this girl cannot avoid menstruating. So either way, they'll have to use the sanitary towel. So politely, that is a cyberbullying in a way. Why are you frustrating my efforts? And yet, you did not even contribute into the resources that I gave out.
Yeah.
So I politely told that person, this is not rocket science. I have brought sanitary towels. Bring the food. Simple. Yeah. So if you argue, even in the social media, with the factual approach of telling somebody that we can do this together, don't insult people, because it makes you look like you're also daft. But if you approach it in a more authentic way of telling somebody, I don't have a problem with your suggestion, but what I'm saying is what I could handle with my small resources in the sanitary towels. Because this is passionately what I love doing.
Yes.
So you feel like they also need food, bring the food. You've already killed the conversation.
Yes.
So if there's any cyberbullying, just find an authentic way of blocking the bullies. Don't insult. If you insult, it makes you also look like you're also like one of them.
Now that you're already speaking about the challenges, my lord, you and your thick skin. Wait. Able tell us what inspires you to keep going? Like, what is that thing? Like, just unapata motivation yako kutoka hapi?
I know this might sound like a cliche, but I don't know if I should say I'm a spiritual person, or I believe everything is divinely orchestrated, in the sense that one thing I tell myself is, if I was not meant to be in this space, God would not have allowed me to go this far. Because I started in 2017. So if it was that horrible, or if I had wrong reasons why I'm doing all this, God would have shut down all the networks I have, or the social capital that I have in me. Like, there's a reason why God has allowed me to come up to today. So that is one of the reasons why I'm always like, no, I'm not yet done. And I'm like, whatever I do, I know it's authentic to the community. So why should I feel bad? And that's why I said, as a woman, you need to understand who you are. What strengths are in you? The fact that you believe in God, why do you want to give the devil power? Because if they're telling you can't do it, and you go ahead and not do it, you're giving the devil power. The God who has brought you this far has given you the knowledge, the wisdom to have gone all this, and to withstand all the pressure that you've had with the cyberbullying and all that. So at some point, even you being very professional and authentic in responding to bullies is because God has given you the wisdom. Because if you didn't have the wisdom, then you would just have insulted back. But because you have the wisdom, you decide, I'm not insulting. I just want to give them facts on why they think this way and I think this way. So from the point of people knowing that you know who you are, you even reduce the noisemakers. Because they like, with Moody's, don't try, you're wasting your time. That girl knows who she is. They say, I am who exactly I think I am. So you'll not put me down with anything else. I am exactly who I think I am.
I'm exactly who I think I am. That should be my anthem. And you answer, Gali. You are who you think you are. And now that we're talking about being who we think we are, what can we expect out of you in the next coming years? What should we expect?
As much as I use this to escape that question, because I always say, you will buy a diary and plan, because diaries in Mepangwa January to December. But God also has his own diary. So as an individual, definitely you have ambitions and all that. You also need to give God basis of, okay, he knows what he has planned for you, but you just have things in place. Okay, for me, even getting to where I am, I think everything is well orchestrated. Because when I started, I didn't have a vision of saying that I will reach a point whereby I'll find myself being nominated by governor to represent him. Me, I was just giving sanitary towels to schools and doing mentorship. Like, I'm just enjoying, So if you would have asked me, I would not, there's no way the whole idea of representing governor would have come in place. But there's a way God works with people who work with pure intention. The word is pure intention. Just mean well with the space you're in. Create space with the people you're engaging with. Have rapport with the community, So when we are talking about how in the next years to come, honestly, let me evade that question and say, me Mungu tu anipange. Me Mungu anipange. But where I am giving my everything to make sure that every opportunity I'm given, every platform, I represent well. If I'm told today, Tina, there's a meeting under the Directorate of Gender, go and represent the Directorate, I will give my all. I will take notes and everything. The other day we were having SGBV policy by the national government at the county, and I was seated there with a pen, but I looked like I'm not there. So when I posted the whole caption of what the whole conversation was in that room, then somebody told me, you didn't look like you were taking notes. And I'm like, when you see me quiet, I don't joke with the way I butter my bread. So you see, so just be, when you're in a space, be authentic. So that when people see you in that space, they know you mean business. So when you put yourself in that kind of a situation, even the people within you in that room, they respect and even have sober conversation, because they know this one might be seated here, but she's not here to play. She's here to ensure that she gets the data, the story, she gets to write it down, to ensure that the whole conversation is captured in written, and make sure that when she's even doing her social media spaces, what am I speaking on my social media space? I joke a lot, and I'm like, life, don't be too serious with life. Mswahili atasema sisi ni marehemu watarajiwa, so ujue siku yako ni gani. So tusikuwe watu ambao wamejibana sana kimaisha. Changamka kidogo. So that's why I put jokes here and there, just for laughs, nothing serious. But when I'm doing, when I'm in the field working, when I bring back to my social media spaces, I ensure that it's professionally captioned. I don't joke. That's why even when I'm doing my menstrual products, my menstrual activities, our engagements, I usually have a media person to capture the conversation. So that as much as I'm sharing the video, I will also write what exactly was I doing on the ground. I will just not post photos with the sanitary towels. I will say these were the key issues we handled in this school. These were the key issues we talked about in this institution, so that I am balancing. Like sometimes I put a joke and somebody comes so serious with the response, and I'm like, easy. No, overthink. You know, overthink. Life is too short. Once in a while, create a laugh here and there. You know,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I know that there is a young girl who's watching this, who's like, hey, how do I become this? How do I manage to navigate that? Or just someone who's also just starting out their journey, maybe not exactly in menstrual health, hygiene management, but just something else, and they want to be able to push to the extent to get to where you are now. How do they get there?
I could say this, that sometimes when somebody's starting out, you want to start at Tinanam's level. No, it doesn't work like that.
Yes.
Let God take you. I say, allow God to college you. Allow God to take you through every step. That way you also learn. So that when you're starting up, let's say you want to start giving menstrual and mentorship programs and all that in the community. Start small. Go to a community where you think I can easily access, you know. And say, this one is just, I can just walk here to my village and tell my guru or whoever is within, or myself, and say, the neighbors, let me call them and sit them down. Talk to them about something that you understand about menstrual hygiene. Give them sanitary towels, see their reaction, have a conversation. Don't let it be a one conversation person, you know. Let them also engage, let them tell you what is happening. Caption that part, post it, you know. Just start small. The next time you'll say, I think I've done in my local area a lot, and I'm thinking where I've reached, I will need the input of Tina. Let me just talk to Tina and have a conversation with Tina, how she has done and all that. Take lessons. You get somebody who is starting up, but they're already starting with a competition mindset. No, it doesn't work like that. Just start in your own way. Because even if you decide to do, you want to empower girls about poetry, we have so many girls in Kisumu. You can't reach all of them. So the space is enough.
For everyone.
So what you do, just focus on your lane. Don't want to fight who is also doing this, I want to outshine them. No. I say in lugha ya Swahili, kila binadamu ana neema yake. Kila mtu amebarikiwa kivyake. Kila mtu ana uzito wake kwa ule neema ambayo amepewa. So everybody has their own favor, you know. So allow yourself to just be in that space where you have started. Pole, because when you do it well, even God will spot you the destiny helpers. Utajipata tu, you're in a space where the people whom you're looking at, and you're like, hey, I hope one day I'll be like this person. You find yourself in the room where they are, because you started well with a pure intention. So God has elevated you to a room where you're now with the people whom you are admiring in the same space, because you are not fighting them. You're also thinking, I also want to make an impact. So because she has started with this area, let me go to this side, you know. So if you just do it with a pure intention, God will bring you destiny helpers to get to where you're looking at. Don't come with a competition mindset. No, it doesn't work like that. Because if you're competing with me or you want to fight me, you know, I have the power, I have the muscle. So if we start to fight, it's you who will suffer. So just when I realize that you're not fighting, I also just let you do your thing, you know, unless it's me who is coming to fight. But if I have the mind of oppressing those who are starting up, God will shut even my networks. Yes. So I allow you to do your thing. So for a young girl who is starting up, please have a pure intention of why you want to do this thing, and let it come from your heart. So that even when things are not going well, you'll not give up. You'll just tell God, let me take a break. I will come back when things go well. And taking that break, if you mean well, again, God will let you into space where you'll find resources. You know, somebody will call you and say, I've seen you doing this thing. I can manage 2 boxes of center towels. Then you'll be like, there are some guys I was supposed to go to, but I didn't have the resources. So Tina has said she will give me the 2 boxes. You know, just go on and things will just flow. If you have a pure intention mindset, things will flow. Don't come with a mindset of competition. No, it doesn't work like that. No, it doesn't. Things will go well. But anyway, for those who want to start up, for the young girls, please, may you trust God. May you trust God. Even if it looks impossible, if you have pure intention, trust God. Trust you me. Oh, that guy, tasema ni bazenga bazu. That guy can make the impossible possible, because sometimes you get to a level and you're like, how did I get out of that fix? It was like, now this is the fix that was going to finish me completely. But you got out. And here you are. You know, like you are in a situation where something put you down like totally. You know, sometimes you find yourself in a loan situation, you're like, okay, loan me, I can tell you. But at some point you cleared it. It cannot be coincidental. God was in the story. So just trust in God, that if you mean well, you have pure intention, things will work out. Destiny helpers will come to your rescue. So here is Kisumu. Yes.
This is so beautiful.
Thank you.
This conversation has been so nice. I always love just sitting with you and talking.
Thank you.
Na time yetu hadi mnashanga mbona imeisha. Woi. But this has been so nice. Thank you so much for creating time to join us. Thank you for sharing.
The pleasure is all mine.
Hey,
the pleasure is all mine.
Honestly, this has been beautiful. Asante sana.
And before you say asante sana, oh goodness, you people, you should follow this girl on Felicity Moody's. Oh, the energy this girl has. By the way, I was telling a friend of mine, there's a lady from Kisumu we met, and our energies just aligned.
Yes.
Like effortlessly. You know that those people you just meet and their energy just excites you. You're like, I think this person just means well, you know. But there are those people you meet and they're like, oh, may I never meet this person again, because this one came to drain me. But the people you meet, and that's what I always say, you don't meet anybody just because you met them.
Yeah.
God has blessed them through your path. At some point you'll understand why, oh, now I get it, why I met this lady, you know. You get to a point you're supposed to do an event in Busia and you're like, now I see why I met Tina, you know. So everybody who comes in your line, make sure you seal that network. Make sure the rapport is, that's what I'm saying, if you mean well, hata roho yako tu itakuwa tu safi. You know, just mean well. Things will just align, you know. But you have energy.
Well, thank you. Coming from another energy owner.
You have energy. I am an MC who also has energy. But
well, this has really been nice. Na najua sasa kuna watu wako curious, wanaweza kukufollow wapi, where do they find you? How can they come through to support the work that you do?
Definitely social media handles. Tina Nams. Tina Nams. I just shortened my official names actually. Christine Namaindi. So Tina Nams. in bracket, Samia Queen. I said Samia Queen self-proclaimed for this reason.
Yes.
That when I'm asked, why do you call yourself Samia Queen? I come from Samia, that is my sub-county. Yes. So if the young girls from Samia ask me why I'm calling myself a Samia Queen, I'm a queen in the aspect of what I've been talking about, in the aspect of leadership, in the aspect of governance, in the aspect of advocating for menstrual health and hygiene management. That is where I am queening.
Yes.
I'm not queening to slay. No. I am giving them a reason to live their life with a purpose. Because a purposeful life is so fulfilling.
Yes,
oh my goodness, it's so fulfilling. You feel nice when you meet somebody and somebody says, we were somewhere and your name was mentioned because of what you do, you know. Yes.
Amazing. So please ensure that you give Tina Nams a follow everywhere. It's Tina Nams. You will most certainly love the work that she does, and you will also love the woman that she is. And if you are looking to collaborate or you're looking for a policymaker in terms of issues around menstrual health and hygiene management, Tina Nams should be your go-to person. Always, if you're looking for an MC, she should be your go-to person as well. We have had such a great time. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Sister Darling podcast, Leaving No Woman Behind. I have been your host, Felicity Moody.
Let me hold your hand, sister darling. Let me hold you close. Don't be afraid. I will sail the waves of you, sister darling.